All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to talk about Floyd Mayweather Jr. and a big announcement that he just made. However, that announcement also illustrates why Gervonta Davis, in my opinion, more than likely is going to leave Floyd Mayweather Jr. as a promoter. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. We're going to talk about Floyd Mayweather Jr. and his fight that he has just announced with a fighter that goes by the name of Dangerous Don Moore. It will be held in Dubai on a literal helicopter pad, and the fight is going to take place on the exhibition is going to take place on May 14th. Now, that in and of itself is some news if people are really interested in seeing Floyd Mayweather Jr. fight in an exhibition. I'm not sure where it's going to be aired. To me, it sounds like something where Floyd Mayweather Jr. is going to go over there. He's just going to have a sparring match, make a good amount of money for the sparring match, and then come back to the United States. It's not a fight that is a real fight that is going to go on his record, right? However, what is funny about this scenario is the fact that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is going to fight him, this guy, Don Moore, Dangerous Don Moore, on May 14th. Because that, my friends, is just 2 weeks before he fights, before his main fighter at Mayweather Promotions, Gervonta Davis, fights another Mayweather Promotions fighter, Rolly Romero, on May 28th. Just 2 weeks before that. And what that, my friends, is called undercutting your fighter. Now, why do I say that that is undercutting Gervonta Davis? First and foremost, it is undercutting him because Floyd Mayweather Jr. is the promoter of Gervonta Davis. And so for at least a month before the fight, you would think that the main focus of the promoter would be to actually promote the fighters that the fights that his fighters are partaking in. That is not, could you imagine? And this is where I'm saying that, like, just the whole idea of Floyd Mayweather Jr. being a promoter is, and one of the reasons why I think that the promotional company, Floyd Mayweather Jr., hasn't been able to get more fighters out there and get more legitimate signees and get them fight dates, may very well have to do with the fact that Floyd Mayweather Jr. seems to be a part-time promoter. It looks to me as if Floyd himself treats Mayweather Promotions as if it is a bit of a side hustle for him. It is clearly not where he spends the majority of his effort, of his professional effort. And all you need to do to see that is to compare what Floyd Mayweather Jr. does and what you see him tweeting out, what you see him talking about, and what you see him doing the majority of the time versus what you see somebody like Eddie Hearn doing the majority of the time, somebody like Bob Arum doing the majority of the time, right? You do not see Eddie Hearn doing anything but promoting. You don't see him selling NFTs. You don't see him having exhibition boxing matches. Now it is definitely the case that, that Eddie Hearn's professional boxing career is non-existent, so he doesn't have the options to do that. But any profession is a profession. And in order for you to do the best job that you can do for your fighters that trusted your name with them, right, and signed with you thinking that they were going to get your best efforts as a promoter, the very least you could do is be a full-time promoter. Have the art or the business of promoting your fighters be your full-time job. Not a part-time job, not just some small side hustle that allows you to keep your name in the press here and there. Because that's when you are actually actively scheduling exhibition fights for yourself. Within 2 weeks of a fight that you have with your fighter, that your fighter has, it doesn't seem like you're fully invested in the promotion. And also, because you're Floyd Mayweather Jr. and you do have such a big name in boxing, a whole lot of the conversation in boxing still will revolve around what Floyd Mayweather Jr. is doing, especially when you're talking about his own promotional outfit, because he only has a certain amount of resources that he can give to that, right? So, like, to me, you know, I'm not really interested in the Floyd Mayweather Jr. Don Moore fight as an exhibition. And honestly, I don't have a problem with him doing it or not doing it, right? I felt the same way about when he fought the Japanese guy. I felt the same way, actually, pretty much all of these exhibitions. With the exception of the first one, I went with a group of people and watched the exhibition fight between Floyd and not, you know, on pay-per-view, not in person. Paid and watched the exhibition, wasn't even an exhibition, the fight between him and Conor McGregor, which was the one where he got his 50-0, right? And for me, I don't even know, in all fairness, you shouldn't even count it. Because the guy, it was a 0-0 fighter that he never boxed before in his life, but it is what it is. It was an officially registered fight for him to get to 50-0. He gets to 50-0, but then he does it several more times, and I didn't watch, I think I watched the highlights of the Japanese fighter. I watched a highlight of the like a 30-second clip of the fight with him and Jake Paul. It's just not something, Logan Paul, at this point in time that interests me, right? And definitely not this fight out there in Dubai. But from somebody that is looking at Gervonta Davis's career, I can see why Gervonta Davis would be like, look, man, when are you going to start selling my tickets? Because if you remember what the beef was that Gervonta Davis was, at least he was originally vocaling when he said he was getting out of Mayweather Promotions. He was like, when are you guys going to start promoting my fight? What do you think? A Michael Jackson or something that you don't have to be involved in my promotions, you know, a month before the fight? When are the tickets going to go on sale, right? So now they have their pre-sale tickets available, but there is no full-on press. I do believe that they're going to have their first face-off or press conference today, but how involved is Floyd Mayweather Jr. going to be in the day-to-day operations of that if he's got to go promote his own fight in Dubai? Because I doubt very much that he's just going to have to know that he's going to be in Dubai, be here, and just show up the day of the fight in Dubai. He's going to have to do some amount of training, even though probably not a lot. Looks like he keeps himself in shape. And he's going to have to go over there and he's going to have to promote the fight to the people that will actually attend it in Dubai. But to me, it just shows you, regardless of the timing, and I do think that the timing is bad, right? It's bad for the Gervonta Davis fight. And it is undercutting his fight. But also just from the idea that, man, that you have a promoter that is a full-time promoter. If you were saying somebody was going to be your manager, you would say, well, do you do this full time? Well, no, I mean, it's one of the things I do, right? Now a lot of managers do have multiple businesses, right? They a boxing manager, right? But they may also manage music artists, right? Or they manage somebody else, and managing boxers may be a part of their business, right? But a boxing promoter, that's what they should be doing full time, what they should be invested in full time. And if you are the number one boxer for that promoter, you would think that promoting that top fighter would take precedence over other fighters. But it seems as if Gervonta Davis will be 35 years old and still be a second fiddle fighter at Mayweather Promotions, because Mayweather will still be occupying his time by promoting himself in his exhibitions and different things and appearances that he can make, selling NFTs or doing whatever he's doing. Now, that's not to say that Leonard Ellerbe isn't full-time involved in it, but Leonard Ellerbe is the president of Mayweather Promotions. He's not the main guy that people associate with Mayweather Promotions. If Floyd was out there promoting multiple fighters too, like other guys that say, look, man, Floyd doesn't believe in me, otherwise, he would take the time and put me on. Look, Floyd only got 24 hours in a day, and if Floyd is spending, in let's say 24 hours a day, and he sleeps 8 hours, right? No matter what the time frame of that is, and so you only have 16 hours left, right? You only have 16 hours left. And he's spending 12 of those hours things unrelated to promoting boxing. You're only going to get a small slice of that. And then when his personal efforts are involved in making sure that he gets big paydays in boxing exhibitions, it just seems like he's just not 100% on your team. So, anyway, man, I'm not big on the exhibition taking place. Like, honestly, whatever about that. But the lack of dedication that he has to actually promoting his fighters, that to me is a little bit off. And it doesn't surprise me that Gervonta Davis would say, look, man, I'm looking to find somebody else that's going to invest in me full time and is going to make me their main project and not some third option or some third or fourth thing. I'll get to you when I get to you type of situation. But anyway, it is what it is. That's my take on the situation. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.